more fun at that point. You got a packet?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Everybody in the packet that would like one? Beautiful. Packet?
No. Oh, my pen. My pen.
Just open it. Yep.
Sorry, go ahead. Stacy.
Time is now 7 o'clock, and I call session 14, the Whitewater Student Government to order. Please rise if you're able to pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Senator Dewey. Senator Irwin.
Present.
Senator Esserle. Present. Senator Houston.
Present.
Senator Michael.
Present.
Senator Mazzini.
Anybody need an
Senator
adjustment?
Leosin.
Are y'all good?
Senator Rodriguez.
Present.
Senator Rattell. Senator Rice.
Present.
Senator Rosequist. Senator West. Present. Senator Wiesner.
Present.
Please pass.
Present. With that, we'll move into special orders this evening, starting with the Senate oath of office. So if you were elected at the last meeting, session 13, step up right here, if you want to. You have been chosen by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as a senator on the student government. Understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of senator and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say I will to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my abilities.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Isaiah Wilson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable
to be knowledgeable of
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
the WSG standing rules,
and university policies,
and university policies,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, it is my pleasure to introduce the newest Whitewater Student Government Senators. All right, moving on, we're going to the election of a deputy speaker. Any nominations for that this evening? For deputy speaker, Senator Irwin,
I nominate myself.
we have a second. Senator Speaker seconds. Perfect. Any other nominations tonight for deputy speaker? Senator Wilson?
I nominate myself.
Is there a second? Senator Speaker seconds. Any other nominations for deputy speaker? Going once, going twice, seeing none. All right, you're welcome to head to the podium. You can just state your first and last name for the vice president, please. Perfect, that works. If you can just explain a little bit about yourself and why you would like to be deputy speaker.
Good evening, my fellow members of WSG and the gallery. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Blake Irwin. I have wanted to serve my fellow students by serving in student government since the first day I learned what it is. I spent my first semester on campus trying in vain to get a seat on the Senate before finally being elected in the campus-wide election. After that, I had the pleasure of serving on a wide variety of committees. My two most fulfilling committee roles were as secretary to the Constitutional Revision Committee and deputy chair of the Election Engagement Committee. In addition to these, I held numerous leadership positions outside of student government, including campus editor, of our campus assistant editor of the Royal Purple newspaper, community section editor of the same publication, the Nylon's Lit Group meeting facilitator, NACA, Native American Cultural Awareness Association president, and Model United Nations president and founder. I believe that these leadership experiences, as well as my studying of the WSG Constitution, standing rules, Robert's Rules of Orders, and the statute which mandates our existence, has qualified me for the position of Deputy Speaker. But more than my qualifications, but there is more for reasons why to vote for me than my qualifications, my goals for what to do with the position. If elected, I will try to accomplish 2 missions. Firstly, I will work with the executive board and the rest of the Senate to solve what I believe is a crisis of awareness on campus. I believe that too few students on this campus are aware that WSG even exists. And the few that do know of our existence, many of them think that we are a pointless organization without the influence or power to affect change on campus, and thus pay no attention to us. They don't bring us their issues to our attention. They don't run to fill seats on the Senate or try to get involved with the executive board. The lack of awareness weakens our organization. And if elected, I will try to fix this. My second goal will be to empower the senators in this organization. I believe that the Senate is capable of affecting great change on campus, but only if its senators are granted the power to do so. So if elected Deputy Speaker, I will work tirelessly to ensure that each and every one of you has the tools and support you need to affect the change you want to see on campus. Thank you for your time and attention, and I hope that you will give me your trust and your vote and make me the next Deputy Speaker of the Whitewater Student Senate.
Howdy folks, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Isaiah Wilson. I'm a political science major. This is my second year on campus. I took a bit of an academic sabbatical, if you will, last year, but I returned, and the first thing I did when I returned is ran for a Senate position. That's why I just took the oath, and I told you guys back in the fall that it's the most important thing that I think I do on campus. It's where my heart really resides and I feel belongs. But I'll keep this super short, and I'm going to just talk about 3 things tonight. Okay, so the first thing is like some normal stuff. I'm going to talk about who I am, why I think I'm good for the role. The second stuff is like what I really want to do with the role, some policy stuff, sure, some outreach events, that kind of thing. But the third thing, it's the most important thing, it's talking to the actual folks that we have in the room, what I think we can do together, and what I want to do for the year, for the semester, and for years to come in the order. So the first thing, like I said, my name is Isaiah Wilson. I'm a political science major with a public policy and administration minor. This kind of stuff is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm super passionate about it. I don't know if you guys were in the office at all last week, but I saw lots of faces there. I spend like my entire life there because I love this place so much. When I first came to campus, it was an election season, and the first month that I was there was October, and I worked really hard because I was a brand new senator and I wanted to prove myself. And I was lucky enough to be the Senator of the Month in October. We registered a ton of people to vote, and I want to do stuff similar to that this year. And then by the end of that year, I was Senator of the Year, thankfully enough, because of all of the folks who decided that the title fit. So that's a little bit about me, why I think I'm good for the role, but more importantly, some policy stuff that I think makes a lot of sense to move forward with in both Senate leadership and the Senate as a whole, if I were to be so lucky to be elected to the position. So, for starters, I think there's a large cultural problem in the Senate. And, you know, I love what we do here, but I think Blake mentioned quite well, Senator Irwin mentioned quite well, that there aren't enough people on campus who know about us. And I think that it's easy to say that it's, you know, a fault of the students, but I think the buck stops with us. And I think a lot of folks in this room, we need to take what we do super seriously. So I want to work closely with Director Smith and Director Dobke, who's on the TV back there, in tabling not only to get more people to find out about what we do in this room, not only to pack more seats in this room, but also so that we can do the super important task of registering tons and tons of students to vote for the election this fall. So that's some policy stuff. There's also external committee meetings that I think get often neglected by a lot of senators, whether they're not giving their reports, whether they're going and not taking notes, or whether they're not going at all. One of the large parts of Senate leadership and the role of deputy speaker is making sure that folks go to those. And I think doing it in a really encouraging way. I know some of those committee meetings, you're on the bookstore committee or something. It can be, a bit boring at times, but they're super important, not only for us, but so that admin knows that what we're doing in here is effective and important and a large part of how shared governance works at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. But the third thing, the most important thing that I want to touch on before I get out of your guys' hair is this organization really means a lot to me. And if you would take a moment, I'm not trying to call anybody out, but anybody who's a first-year student, whether it's in the gallery, at the Senate here, could you just raise your hand? Anyone, this is your first year at Wisconsin-Whitewater, could you raise your hand? Wonderful. Keep those up. If this is your second year at Wisconsin-Whitewater, everyone keep the hands up, raise your hand. If this is your third year at Whitewater, raise your hand. Wonderful. I just want you to take a moment and look around the room and see all those hands. And you can put them down now. You can put them down now. But I just want to call attention to how many of us have so much time and how many of us can do so much in this organization. I'm so passionate about what we're going to do and what we get to do. And I really want to get to do it with you guys. So if you would be so lucky enough, I really want to be y'all's next deputy speaker. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, welcome to the floor to questions. Are there any questions for both candidates? I want to start out with both questions need to be answered by both candidates, so nothing's going to be specific to the question or what they mentioned in their individual speeches. So I'll open up the floor to any questions this evening. Director Robinson?
How do you plan to work collaboratively, not only with the executive board, but the Senate? And how do you intend to make sure that the area of focus is serving students?
I think it's a great question, Director Robinson. Thank you for asking it. I think in terms of working collaboratively, Senate leadership, in fact, has a really interesting position in what you just outlined, right? So we don't just work with the Senate, we work with all the executive members as well, President Jan. And in being that kind of middle mediator, that intermediary spot between what's going on in the executive and what's going on in the Senate, I think we're so well positioned to make sure that everybody in the Senate has the relevant information, because I think sometimes information is used in this board like currency. And I think by making sure that everybody knows what must be known so that they can do the things that they need to get done, I think is the exact way you make people feel important in this organization. It's the exact way you make people feel like they can serve the students. And that's the last part of your question. And I think by making people in this room feel like they have an impact and that they're important, whether it's in the executive or it's in the Senate, I think that's how you serve the voices of the students. Thank you for asking.
I think at the end of the day, we all have the exact same goal to improve the life of students on campus. We wouldn't be here putting in the hours if we didn't. So with that in mind, I think the only thing really needed for collaboration is communication and a willingness to sit down and have that communication until you reach a point where you have, if not agreement, then at least understanding.
Director Smith.
How do you ensure that your actions, words, and initiatives are inclusive and equitable for all students?
Well, the most important part of those, I think, is being kind. There has been times in every organization occasionally struggles with periods of unkindness among its ranks. We have to remember to be polite to each other. In fact, it is somewhat required that we be kind to each other. And I think we all have to try to find shared ideals and interests. We all believe in service to others. So I think if we use that as a starting point, and keep that in the center of our focus, we can very easily be inclusive of everyone in the org.
That's a great question, Director Smith. I appreciate you asking it. If you'd allow me to get personal with you for a second, and really it applies to everybody, but I think I have had a real mix of identities in my life. I was adopted. I was raised by 2 white people. I identify in tons of different ways. And I think sometimes it's not to eliminate the knee-jerk judgment that you might have, because people look different and people sound different. And when you hear something that's unfamiliar, it would be unrealistic of me to say that the way to fix that is to crush that initial judgment. I think the way to fix it is to be conscious and to realize that you're going to make implicit judgments. You're going to have implicit bias, but to understand those things when you enter conversations with people of all different identities and say, how do I best cater to making sure that they feel comfortable in this space, making sure that the space feels like an equitable space for ideas. I have a professor named Professor Gimbel who has a wonderful quote that I think applies really well. And he says he wants to make his class a really, really safe place for identities and a really, really dangerous place for ideas. And I love that so much. And I think that's exactly the kind of energy we should be taking into this room. So, and really just our entire lives. So, thank you.
Senator Rodriguez?
You both kind of mentioned the same flaw within WSG, that being not enough people here or the perception of WSG so people don't come out. But other than that, what do you think is the biggest flaw or the biggest thing that WSG is falling short on?
Well, I would argue that it's almost twofold, and biggest is a funny word. It's like if you're carrying a backpack, what rocks are the heaviest? And I think we have 2 equally heavy rocks in our bag. And one of them is, sure, students that know about us, and there's an awareness issue. But I think the more important part is to look at ourselves and look in the mirror first. Before we say students don't know about us, how do we fix it? We have to say what is going on in this room that students out there don't trust us with their opinions, don't come to us with their problems. And I think that's an internal issue, right? This is I didn't think I was going to bring this up, but the deputy speaker is in charge of the internal revisions committee. I chair that committee. And not that internal revisions happen all that frequently, but I think it's kind of an apt term for what I think needs to happen for the organization as a whole. And we really need to revise how we operate internally. I think we need to say, what can we do in this room that makes sure students feel comfortable coming to us? So to say it's an awareness issue is the biggest issue, I think that's true, but I think the bigger issue is how do we cure whatever might be ailing the Senate that makes students not feel super comfortable with either coming to us or not even knowing who we are. So, thank you for asking, Senator Petrie.
I'd say perhaps our biggest issue, besides lack of awareness on campus, and perhaps even bigger, is a lack of ideas on the table. Now, don't get me wrong, we have many excellent ideas every semester and implement some good change, but nothing near what I believe could be a tidal wave of ideas for how to change the campus, and perhaps 99% of them will die in committee and never make it to the floor. But if we can increase the amount of ideas 100-fold, we will still be affecting radical change across the campus. And that's where a lot of my supporting senators comes into play. I want to make sure that every idea a senator has the chance to be researched and developed, and perhaps debated.
President Brennan?
How would you handle the situation if you were to realize you made a mistake or you were wrong about something?
I'd admit it. There's nothing worse than learning new information about something and then carrying on. Some members of this organization will know that I've made mistakes in the past and apologized for them. If you make a mistake, there's always the opportunity to rebuild bridges and to improve yourself as a person. If you refuse to recognize that you either made a mistake, you're going to remain at the same level forever.
Thank you for asking, President Randall. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think Senator Irwin really hit it on the head. I mean, you said realize, and I think that's just it. You gotta be lucky enough to realize, feel lucky enough, feel like you got to realize you were wrong. Because we so frequently die on hills of thinking, I'm right on this forever. So if I can use this question as a avenue to turn back to myself in any small way or speak to the Senate, it's if any of you, whether it's in this room or not, realize that I'm wrong, tell me early and I'll admit it if I
Director Robinson.
What is your approach to criticism, correction, and actions that need to be changed? So specifically, if there is an idea that's put to the table, and that idea may not be feasible, and it may not be something that can happen, how are you at receiving no, accepting change? What is your thought process? Walk us through how you process that information.
That's an astute question, I think, in terms of the stuff we do in this room. Because students all the time say, I need this fixed. This is the thing I want done. And like, higher education is not a world of like, this is gonna get done now or ever or possibly even tomorrow. And if it is, it's probably like 20 years from now. So when you're dealing with higher ed, I think you just have to live in this mindset of like, hopefully, it's kind of what Senator Irwin said before, like, hopefully some of the stuff we do gets through a committee and lands at our hands. And hopefully some of the stuff that we get to vote on in here makes it to the chancellor, to the faculty senate. Like, and I think it's just it's like almost how do you handle it is, I'm not sure you can do this job for very long without realizing that is just like, you handle it. Like, you just have to, it's like you can't be a major league pitcher in baseball and not realize that like someone's gonna hit a home run. Like in this racket, sometimes great ideas die, and it is what it is. And I think there's really no other way to look at it. Like that's what higher education is, and nonetheless, you keep attacking it relentlessly and passionately. That's a really good question. I've been saying that for all the questions, but that's a really good question.
I think, like most people, I don't like receiving criticism, but what I would like far less is remaining ignorant when I'm wrong, or far, far worse, implementing a change that will hurt the students of Whitewater. So while I may not like criticism, I will always, always want to receive it, and I might push back, might make you try to work to convince me that the criticism is valid, but I very much enjoy that kind of debate and hope that every member of the Senate will always feel and of WSG in its entirety will always feel comfortable criticizing my ideals and my ideas, and that I will be able to adapt those if the criticism is correct.
Director Schmidt.
What is something you admire about your opponent?
I love you. I genuinely don't think anybody has a better understanding of the parliamentary procedure in the room. Blake is so well studied and so well researched. It's unreal what he brings to the Senate. He is a reservoir of knowledge, and we should use him as such time and time again. If you have a question about the things that go on in this room, or the things that you might have in front of you in those big binders there, I almost guarantee you he knows the answer.
Goodness, I'm blushing. That was very generous. I mean, the list of good character elements is so on. He's one of the friendliest people I've ever met. Every person who walked in here, he was up there shaking hands, swapping life stories, it seemed. And if I may do too, if that's all right, he's also so energetic about student government. He seems very passionate about the work. And I mean, what other quality do you need to be a senator?
Associate Director Belcher.
Let's say that you achieve the position that you're running for tonight. What would your first steps be?
My first step would be to try to set up a meeting with Warren and Speaker Fadness so they could tell me, so Speaker Fadness could explain his expectations for me in the role, and Warren could educate me as the most recent office holder on how he went about the role. And then the second step would obviously be the general leadership meeting, and after that, I'll begin work on the different initiatives I have planned, reaching out to senators. So that's going to be my first few steps. Lots of meetings, of course.
Great question. And I think it's very similar to what Senator Irwin said, slightly different. If you look down at your agendas, if you have any, the next thing we do is appoint a parliamentarian. And meeting with Speaker Fadness and whoever earns the parliamentarianship after this, you have a meeting together, you talk about what this is going to look like. You get Speaker Fadness's expectations for you. You exchange what the trajectory for the semester needs to look like. And after that, I would start filling my Outlook calendar. Senator Irwin has it right. But I'd be super duper intentional about sitting down with as many senators one-on-one as I can in the WSG office. Number one, as the deputy speaker, you have to do some, I guess for lack of a better term, like dean of students-esque things. You have to kind of make sure that people are doing their office hours. We have to make sure that those things are going super smoothly. So if QR codes don't work or if people aren't finding them, the only way you learn that is from the senators, and I don't want to have to learn it when somebody raises their placard at a meeting. I want to be able to learn it and have a super personal relationship with all of them. And when they have a problem, my WebEx and my email are very open. So please reach out.
Senator Rice.
Yeah, so some clubs have in the past mentioned that they have not been reached out to in the past, or like they've not been reached out to yet, or when certain senators have reached out to them and said it's the first time. Is there any plans of trying to change that to try to reach out to more clubs as possible once you get in?
Good question. I guess I assume you're referring to like for outreach events.
Yes.
In which case, it's an answer of a spreadsheet. You find every student. I used to work in SAI, and Dave McNeely works down there now. He's a wonderful, Director Emeritus McNeely works there now. I have a very great relationship with Dave, so it's as easy as walking over there, saying, hey Dave, we need a spreadsheet of all the different student orgs. If there are any new ones, we make sure that all the new ones that just got recognized either this week or last, that we reach out to them. And then it's about turning back to the Senate and going, well, here's everybody who we need to go see. It's about reaching out to some of those org presidents saying, do you want us to come see you? Because I was just at jiu-jitsu earlier today. Something tells me they don't need us sitting in. But when they need us, we should be there. So it's reaching out to those org presidents and making sure that everything with the org presidents and the senators line up very nicely so that we all get to be super happy and all the students feel really well heard. Make sense? Awesome.
Well, the Senate leadership, I think, got us off to a good track last year. They put club outreach at the forefront of their agenda. I believe that parliamentarian Emeritus Herbs, who's here with us tonight, was spearheading that project. And we do have a spreadsheet already, so excellent idea, that we've been going through and marking. I think the real issue is figuring out a more efficient means of communicating with the clubs, because there are some 180 plus clubs here on campus, and at best 27 senators. We need to come together as an organization and figure out how we're going to keep in contact with these club leaders, because one outreach event a year is not enough, and I think that deserves probably a longer conversation than we can have right now.
Senator Escamilla.
I'm
Sorry,
actually
you didn't.
how will losing this election affect your work in the Senate?
Oh, that's right. It's me. Well, you know, you can't slow down just because you didn't get a position. So if some of my goals may be harder to achieve if I'm not deputy speaker, I won't be able to serve the Senate in the same way I want to, but I will still continue to be an at-large senator and still try to affect change and still try to work with every member of the Senate and the executive council to do it.
I'm not sure you've noticed, but I'm not particularly one for short answers, but this is one. It's a great question though, but minimally. Yeah. You, as a senator, you get tons and tons of power. You get tons and tons of things you can do. And like where you sit at the meeting he's one of my good friends, so I'm not hesitant to call him out. But you could ask President Bradley, like where you sit at the meetings is not super important in terms of how you get things done. That's how we do it in New York. So I just keep getting things done.
Seeing no other questions, evening, thank you for those responses. You both can head back to your seats. We'll do a secret ballot vote. A majority vote will win deputy speaker position. Please write their last name as on the Google Doc, just so there's no confusion there.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't even have paper. Oh, I do, and I don't even, oh, I'm so sorry. Madam Clerk, I apologize so greatly.
I'll come back.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk.
Oh, it's okay.
My deepest and sincerest
Are you
apologies,
good
Madam
now?
Clerk. I got it. Thank you so much.
With a vote of 8-4, congratulations, Senator Wilson, on becoming the next deputy speaker. We'll move into the Senate oath of office whenever you're ready. Senator Wilson, you have been chosen by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as a deputy speaker on the student government. Understand that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role. Do you accept the position of deputy speaker and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say I will to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Isaiah Wilson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable
to be knowledgeable of
of and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing
the
rules,
WSG standing rules,
and university policies
and university policies,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. It is my pleasure to introduce the newest deputy speaker of the Whitewater Student Government. All right, moving into the election of parliamentarian this evening, are there any nominations for parliamentarian? Senator Rodriguez,
I nominate myself.
is there a second? Senator Irwin seconds. All right, perfect. Any other nominations? Senator Culberson?
I nominate myself.
Is there a second? Senator Whedon seconds. Deputy Speaker Wilson.
I nominate Senator Irwin.
Senator Irwin, do you accept?
I must decline.
Any other nominations this evening? Going once, going twice, seeing none. All right, perfect. If you both head to the podium, whenever you're ready.
And how long have you been?
No,
I've been typing it for a long time.
I know how to do it. Took me a while. I know.
We have one for
When you say
names.
like that, it's quite freaky.
So if you could just give a little bit about yourself and why you would like to become the next parliamentarian.
Hi everyone, my name is Cameron Culberson. I'm a senior here on campus. This is my first year being involved in WSG, though I want to make a big impact and change in the ways that I can. So I'm running for this position because I feel as a student myself, I did not know about WSG and just the impact and change that it did have on campus until late in my junior year. And I believe that through the person who I am, how committed and goal-driven, with the help of others, I can make change in doing that, just that. So collaborating with other people on board, getting out in the actual community, talking to students, letting them and being informing them on what WSG is, the power that it is. This room right now should not be as empty as it is, and it can be so much fuller if you go about it the right way. Social media is such a powerful platform. I had started an organization with a couple of my friends, and we started at 0 followers, and I was a PR person. Now our organization has over 400, 500 followers, and it hasn't been an organization for over a year. So the power of social media is really important. Also the power of collaborating, being in people's spaces, being open so that people can know who we are as an organization, but also as a student government, as we are their voices to them. Thank you.
I don't want to make this another half hour. We got some elections to get to. So. But hey everyone, my name is Nick Patricus. I'm a third-year public policy major. I'd love the opportunity to be your parliamentarian. I've been very involved on campus for the past 2 years. Some of the things I want to do as parliamentarian include being just an additional resource for you all. I want to have a regular survey to kind of just gauge interest, get feedback on the current direction student government is going, how it can improve. And then just have a folder of a bunch of different resources and materials for you all, such as like a legislation template or current roster or committee assignments or just different things like that. Some of my other roles on campus include serving as a vice chair of SUFAC and as president of a student org, the Coalition Against Sexual and Interpersonal Violence. I've also been a part of a number of committees, including Dining Advisory and RFP Evaluation, as well as other various advisory and chancellor's committees. Through my time here, I learned a lot about the organization itself, how campus operates, how WSG operates, and then the many, many layers of bureaucracy here. I've had the privilege of working collaboratively alongside members of a bunch of different departments, such as athletics, housing, dining, continuing education, ITS, just to name a few. These experiences, along with the people I've met, have broadened my understanding of campus as a whole. I just want to be a resource for others, particularly for new people or those who may not have a ton of experience or be super familiar with the key responsibilities, such as writing legislation or giving your committee reports. Having had experience with all of those, I'd love to just offer guidance and support to those who need it. Another proposal is just regular temperature checks. So just a survey, basically. It can be anonymous or not. Just to find out where people stand in regards to the current direction student government is heading, how Senate leadership can improve, and how to make our spaces more welcoming to everyone. But this just opens the door to continual positive improvements, both within the organization and just how the organization can affect the overall campus community. Third big idea is just having a shared drive of a bunch of different resources, legislation template, how to use it, just examples of like committee reports, legislation bills, just a topic tracker, like a more specific one. So if multiple people have the same idea to work on a bill or come up with the same idea, just throw it in that spreadsheet. And then if you open it and you're like in an office hour, bored, don't know what to do, open the spreadsheet and be like, oh, Senator West is working on a bill. I want to help her with it. Let me email her and reach out. You know? I want to continue involving just different ideas about outreach events. There's still areas to grow and just improve on the current way of doing it, but just like fine tuning it and making it a little better. I think it's a great foundation for it. Overall, I'm just committed to making student government a more welcoming, accessible, and supportive place for everyone, both you and the students we represent. Yeah, I want to make it easier for everyone to get involved, provide feedback, and ask questions. And with that, thank you for your time, and I yield the questions.
Perfect. We'll open up the floor to questions. Do any senators have any questions at the moment? Deputy Speakers, or sorry, Wilson.
If you were a tool in a toolbox, which would you pick?
I gotta take this one. Digital caliper. I've had the same answer since I was first asked this in October of 2022, I think. I just like to be detail oriented. I don't know if you've ever used one, but it just gives you the exact measurement of something to the millimeter.
I would believe that would be a level. Just always making sure that things are not too far left, not too far right, but always in the middle. I believe there's always a way that you can come to a certain medium with everyone, and there's always different strategies and ways that you can get to that perfect spot. So I'll say that.
Perfect. Any other questions at this time? If not, I'll go. How would you say you stay organized best with your busy schedules?
So with me, I'm involved in a couple of different organizations, and it can be very overwhelming to be organized, especially with school starting back up. But I believe the best way for me is making a thorough calendar. I do that through Outlook. I also use a couple other apps here and there that can help me, but mostly with Outlook, and then I also use a planner. And with that, I have a detailed kind of timeline that I set up of each month, and that's how I go about staying.
I mean, you kind of said it. I live off my Outlook calendar. If it's not on there, it doesn't exist. I also have just a whiteboard in my room that I like to organize if I have a meeting or something important coming up, like assignments or just different things, I like to write them on there to remind myself.
Perfect. Sorry, what?
How do you approach situations when you find out you made a mistake?
That's a great question. I've made my fair share of mistakes, both within and just as a person in life. But I like to take onus and just apologize. I'm not the best at it. I'm not going to claim that I'm perfect at that or just perfect at apologizing, but I like to at least try and I think show effort, and I think that's really important.
As for me, I believe that I like to go about things. It's like we're all kind of in a sense. I like the term like we're all kind of doing life for the first time, so we're all going to make mistakes. I don't feel as if you can beat yourself up about those mistakes. It's not a mistake; it's a learning lesson. So I believe that I'm very open to when I make mistakes. I want to hear the criticism. I want to be better within any experience that I am in. So I believe that I do not take mistakes, or if I mess up bad, I want to do the best.
Any other questions at this time? Deputy Speaker Wilson?
Could you both break down for me in a real rough way? We don't gotta go for a long time, but as the parliamentarian should, just an easy breakdown of parliamentary procedure as best you understand it.
I use this in my Greek organization, Omega Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm the vice president. So we use parliamentary within our e-board meetings, just like this is not. So I am familiar with this.
Yeah, I've been on CFAC for the past year, which uses it very extensively. If there's 180 student orgs, there's over 100 that submit budgets every year, and for every single budget, there needs a motion, seconds, and then voice vote. Probably over half require we make a motion and it's like, oh, we have to actually change it. So you need an amendment to the motion, and then you got to approve that, and then you have to go back to the original motion and approve that. It's very fun and very exciting when you've been sitting in this meeting for 8 hours and you have to go and do like 3 amendments to a motion. It's the most fun in the world, but I don't think really. I mean, that's kind of the test, is it, like being able to sit down and do this thing that not everyone enjoys, but something that you have to do for a while.
Perfect. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for those responses. I appreciate it. You both can head back to your seats. We'll move into a secret ballot vote again. Majority also wins the parliamentarian position. Please write down the last names that are on the Google Doc as well. With a vote of 7-5, congratulations, Senator Patricus, on becoming the next parliamentarian.
Oh.
Everybody know that story. Happens every year. All right. Senator Patricus, you've been chosen by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as the parliamentarian on the student government. Understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of parliamentarian and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say, I will to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Nick Patricus,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable
of,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
the WSG standing rules,
and university policies
and university policies
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. It is my pleasure to introduce the newest parliamentarian of the Whitewater. All right, moving into the appointment to 3 off-campus Senate seats. Anyone interested in the 3 off-campus Senate seats? Either you can rise. Going once, going twice, seeing none. Moving into the appointment of 3 at-large Senate seats this evening. Is there anyone interested in the 3 at-large Senate seats? Perfect. You all head to the podium. You can state your first and last name, please. And we'll skip the 3 questions after the spiel that I'll give just for the sake of time tonight. But if you could just start off by giving a little information about yourself and why you would like to join the Whitewater Community Government, that'd be great.
Good evening. My name is Logan Carter. I'm currently a senior here at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. I'm involved in a lot on campus. I'm a proud brother of the Phi Delta Theta fraternity. I work for the university's football team. I work for UC Live right here in the James R. Conner University Center. And I'm also a member of the Chancellor Student Advisory Council, where I talk to the Chancellor about student issues and concerns. I want to rejoin WSG because I continue to have a voice on this campus. I mean, students continue to come up to me about their issues and concerns, but it's only right that I bring it back. I was a senator last fall, but due to personal issues and to help grow my mental health, I decided to step away in spring so that way I can focus on myself and everything like that and better myself as a human being. No, self-care is key, so please take that time. Now, something I want to bring to WSG is recognizing the LIFE program on this campus. It's basically a transition program for neurodivergent students so that way they can have the college experience that some of them may not be able to receive. And there's students that help them through this. Like when I work at UC Live, I see students bring them to events. I see them at the involvement fair and that. And I feel like on campus, Deputy Speaker Wilson told me today, he had no idea what the LIFE program was or heard about it. So I feel like it's time that we give them the recognition that they deserve because these students are putting their time and effort for this. And I'm excited to get back to work with y'all, and thank you for the time. God bless.
Hi, I'm Zaid Khan. I'm a pre-med major and I was a sophomore on campus. This is my second time running. I ran first time freshman year fall, and I'm a part of the LITS and pre-health organization. The reason I wanted to join Whitewater Student Government was to incite any sort of change. I think as somebody who wants to do service to people, doesn't matter to their backgrounds and to who they are, I just want to help improve people's lives, and it's a good surface to do that. And I think student government, it has that power and that ability to create change. I am here to learn, and as Speaker Isaiah said, information is like a currency. And I would love to learn what was here and to learn how we can change this campus and improve the lives of the students who are to come in the next 10 years, the next 20 years. And that would be all. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Samira Dorsey. I'm a sophomore here at Whitewater. I major in political science with a minor in business law. Looking to become a business lawyer, and I'm going to be very transparent here. My first year, I was not involved. I was scared to get out of my comfort zone. I want to be transparent. If you look around this room, it's not a lot of people that look like me. And I go into the WCC every day, and I have a lot of friends that look like me that complain about things that is happening on this campus. And I want to be the leader. I've always been known to be the leader growing up, and I want to be a leader to show little girls like me that it's okay to be in a room full of people that's not my color, or maybe just not even a female here that looks like me, that it's okay to step up and get out of your comfort zone and to speak up for what you want to do or what a change can be around the community.
Thank you for your response. Do you have any questions this evening? Do we have any questions for all the candidates? Deputy Speaker Wilson?
If you were two or what would you pick?
I guess I'll go first. I would be an Allen wrench. because it's one of the most forgotten tools in the underappreciated tools, and I feel like when it's needed the most, it's very useful. And I feel like sometimes I'm unappreciated. People forget that I have skills that I can use, but when they need me the most of my skills are very useful. And
I would say a screwdriver. I think a screwdriver is very universal, and I think I'm a universal person. I think you can use me for anything, and I would also say a drill because I'm very loud. I feel like I would drill things into people's head. So yeah.
The only toolbox I know is like for like mechanic shop, so I would want to be a car jack. Because like the first thing you do is put a car in the jacks, and the first time I ever did it, I did it wrong. I had a dent up in my passenger side for the rest of that year, and I hid it from my dad by putting another rug on it. So I think that you always have to take that first step, and if you don't know how to take that first step, then well, you can't really go anywhere. So I'm a big advocate of doing that. Taking that first step, asking to learn, and wanting to do the hard work.
If you were a piece of clothing in a closet, what would you do?
Definitely a hoodie. I was born in Pakistan, so like the heat, I grew up there for a while, and the heat doesn't really affect me, and I will wear a hoodie whenever and ever, and I think it's such a comfortable piece of clothing, and I like to think of myself as a easygoing person who wants to make other people feel comfortable and like they can communicate with ease.
I don't have anyone right now, but I would say glasses. It's something that you need every day. I feel like I'm a person that, you might need every day. I like to talk to people. I like to communicate. I'm a person that you could come to for anything. So I feel like you always wake up in the morning when you need your glasses. When you go to school, when you walk around, when you need your glasses. So I just think I'm a very transparent person.
Parliamentarian Patricus, I would say I am actually the suitcase that holds all the clothes together, because no matter what at this university, you have to be inclusive, and I feel like I'm a very inclusive person. So there's not one that would describe me, but I would be the suitcase because I would keep people.
Sarah Nielsen?
How do you describe your leadership style?
I'll go. I have 3 words that I use every single day: dedication, compassionate, competitive. If you're not dedicated to what you're doing, then why are you here? Be compassionate to each other. You don't know what someone's going through. You don't know what their day's been like. You gotta be competitive in life. Like I said, I work on the football field, and something I tell my friends that play is, you're not competitive off the field, in the classroom, in whatever you're doing, then how can you be competitive on the field? So, dedication, compassionate, competitive.
Could you repeat your question?
How do you describe your leadership style?
I would say authoritative, democratic, because I think communication is what should come first. Like, one of my first classes I took in high school and I was super excited about was engineering. I'm not an engineering major, but the one of the things I learned was a design process and the engineering process. So first thing you want to do is bring up the problem, define the problem, and whatever the pros and cons are, how to solve that problem, and throw up brainstorm ideas. And then prototype is actually one of the last things you do. So making sure that first step happens where you can communicate, brainstorm ideas, and have a whole group talk can do wonders. It's like a filter paper. You can get the pros and cons that you want. I think that is one of the biggest things, and I think the voting process and having multiple people like vote on each other's ideas is crucial.
Question one more time?
How would you describe your leadership style?
I don't want to put my friends on the spot that's in the gallery back here, but before anything, they didn't really know what student government was until me. I invited them to come out tonight to see what this was all about because I've been here last semester and I've seen what like the student government can do. I see that like everything is put into your hands, and I thought it was actually put into faculty's hands. So just to see that it's all put into your guys' hands, I just want to show them today that like it's all in your hands. So I feel like I can bring out more people just in these two of my friends. I feel like I'm a very known person. I can get a lot of people engaged to come out here and speak what wants to be changed around this community. So I think that's my leadership skill, bringing more people to come and be aware of what's going on in student government.
Senator West, do you have a question?
Yeah, how would you go about working with someone who has different beliefs than you?
I believe that you can compromise without compromising your own values. Like, I believe that we can all come into agreement without disrupting what I believe in. So, yeah. Just compromise without compromising my own values. That's for sure.
Like I said, I'm involved in a lot on campus, so I deal with a lot of people with different opinions than I do. And what I usually do is say, for example, me and Deputy Speaker Wilson are arguing about something. I'll be like, okay, what is your point of view on this situation? This is my point of view. And then how can we find a median? That way we both agree on it. And that I feel like that's the inclusive way to do it, and respectful way to do it.
I feel like can I say friends?
Yeah.
So I feel like my friends have answered the question really well, and they've summarized like listening. So I think that's really the big thing, just listen and come to a compromise.
Thank you for those responses. Sorry for going over 4 questions to 3, I mentioned 3. But thank you for those responses. You can head back to the gallery. We'll go into a secret ballot vote again. Please write the last names of the individuals you would like for all 3 of the Senate seats. If there's any questions, please raise your placard at this time. But the names are on the board. If you want them in the Senate, fill the Senate seat. That are all have open. There's 3 spots open. There's 3 candidates. Please write their last name.
Yeah, I used to have some friends, but they got elected. So
Because nobody's good. Nobody's just broadcast.
Mr. Speaker.
Director Robinson.
Can you just repeat who's who? There's 3 names.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a long time since they introduced themselves. Can you just reiterate who's who so I know the last name to the face?
Yeah. Okay. So last name Carter has his hand up. On you can raise your hand. And then last name Dorsey. Perfect. Just for clarification.
yeah, I felt that like it doesn't walk all the way around just moving.
No. You moved over, yeah. Yep.
Congratulations to Carter Khan and Dorsey on becoming the next Whitewater Student Government Senators. Please see me after the meeting for additional information. I just have some additional spreadsheets and other information that I would have on you. Congratulations. Moving on to the one Esker Senate seat this evening. Anyone interested in the one Esker Senate seat? You just head to the podium. Cool. If you could just describe a little bit about yourself and why you like to join Whitewater Student Government, that would be great. The floor is yours.
Good evening, my name is Terry Elise Mims. I am a broadcast journalist, print web, and also a communication major with a minor in corporate communication. I am involved in a number of different facets on campus, and I enjoy being a warlock. At the core of everything I do is service. In leadership, my goal is to serve, especially as a student. I want to serve my fellow students and see how can I bring change. And with this opportunity to be a senator, to be here, to be a representative, I feel like that will give me the opportunity to better do that. I'm involved in housing, I'm involved in student org. I'm all around campus and I enjoy it every single day. I love being at the university, especially University of Wisconsin-Whitewater.
Good evening, senators, president, or officers. I don't know all the positions yet, but so my name is Nathan Schmidt. I'm a freshman studying political science with a minor in economics, but by credits, I'm a sophomore. So the reason I wanted to get involved here is because truly after I left my student council position at my high school, which I had served on for 3 years, 2 years as an officer, honestly, I felt lost, and I was kind of wandering around the university center when I ran into Deputy Speaker Wilson and also the president, and I was glad to see that there was something going on here that I could get involved with. Because when I was at my high school, I was sergeant at arms, and I sat through 2 years of school board meetings, and I actually, every time I would inform the admins about what was going on at the school, so all the clubs and sports. And I also spoke at the WSC, the Wisconsin Association of Student Council, where I spoke in front of 2 different groups for 40 minutes about different stuff I had done at Waterford Union High School. I also brought back events like Winter Formal, which had previously ran in over 6 years, and I worked with admin and our advisor to bring it back. And really, I just want to make sure, I feel like one of the reasons I'm running is I want to make sure everyone's included. So I came from a small school, 50 minutes away from here, and inclusion was always rough because I was a swimmer. We had 3 swimmers from Waterford. It took them about 2 years before they ever announced us on the announcements, our meets and stuff. It actually took until I reached out to the athletic advisor to actually get us announced and stuff. And it took them over 5 years to actually replace our photo. We never had my freshman, sophomore, junior. It took until my senior year where I donated my own photo just so we could get representation. And I know, to me, I always make sure to support other clubs because I know how it felt to have no one ever show up, no staff, no faculty, none of your friends even show up. So I made sure that everyone was included. Anyone that ever asked me to show up, even esports, it was a group of 3 kids. I made sure I showed up. Tennis, all these other small things. And that's why it's so important to me for inclusion and making sure to reach out to all these clubs. Because not only did I do that for the school board meetings where every month I would email all the clubs, compile a list and read it off to the school board, but also I know how it felt to be kind of neglected. Thank you.
Thank you for those responses. We'll open up the floor to questions this evening. Senator Nielsen.
How have your previous experiences helped you in a way that you think that this position would be a good fit?
In my previous positions, I feel like I've had the opportunity to attend so many different leadership summits and even have the opportunity to get hands-on leadership. So just being able to be in those rooms, be in those spaces to not only just get leadership, but learn how to be a leader in different facets, whether that's being a good listener or just being someone who can encourage people to come out, really engage the student body. I have really learned how to be a personable person, and that's how I lead as a leader.
Deputy Speaker Wilson.
So I think, generally speaking,
Oh, sorry.
You just repeat the question quick.
Yes.
How have your previous experiences helped you in a way that this would be like a good position for you?
So, being an officer for 2 years at my high school, I was allowed to not only work with administration, including the superintendent, the principal, the vice principals. I sat on a committee about exam exemptions with me and 3 other student council members where we actually discussed taking it away. So I was able to learn how to and kind of understand how government works through sitting through those school board meetings and really understand how to achieve goals. Because I sat through enough school board meetings where I knew if people went in there to fight for something, a lot of times their tone would immediately cause the school board members to shut it down. So by coming to those events and obviously reaching out to different clubs, I was able to learn so much more about the school, and actually I was able to inform a lot of people about decisions that were being made, including when they were cutting tech department classes. I actually had students reach out and ask me, where do I show up for the school board meeting? I said, hey, it's at 6:30 Monday night, last Monday of the month. I said, show up if you're passionate about it. I said, show up.
Deputy Speaker Wilson.
so I think a lot of times when you're saying a committee meeting or, I would say anytime really in your entire life, surprises can upset some folks when you're working together. So what are some things that might surprise somebody when they're working with you that might be hard to deal with?
Something that might surprise somebody when working with me is that I like to be very organized. Being a part of so many different things and spreading myself across campus, trying to collaborate all across campus, regardless of the different orgs we have or just the different roles we have on campus, to build that community that I really like organization, and just continuing to keep everything organized and move forward with that.
I think one of the first things that someone probably noticed about me is I do like to nitpick ideas, but only in a constructive way. I really want the best outcome for any decision that's ever being made. I want to make sure that it's fully thought through, fully researched, and make sure that every aspect and every outcome's been thought of. So although some people may see it as annoying or mean or aggressive, I generally try and make sure it's in a constructive way where we're making sure that the best outcome happens.
And the final 2 questions, we'll start with Senator West.
How do you approach working with someone with different beliefs than your own?
When working with other people, the first thing I would say is you have to remove emotional biases, any personal biases, and just continue to see the person as a person, because a lot of times we can get lost up in, I believe this, and I'm standing on this hill, like Senator has said before. And so just kind of seeing everybody as a person, and understanding, listening, hearing people out before we shut down and discredit them.
If someone had different ideas or different thoughts than me, really, I would try to research it from not only my perspective, but I would also want to inquire and research about what their thought process is. Because I know when I was actually planning our homecoming pep rally, one of the big decisions was to actually move to the gym. For probably 30, 40 years, we'd held it outside, and there was a lot of pushback initially, but I researched both the sides, and I brought up the point that it is much quicker to move students into the gym versus the football field. There's no weather elements. So like really, if you're just able to research both sides, you can most of the time come to the best conclusion.
Perfect. And the last question, Senator Lindsay.
Yeah, what is a challenge that you expect to face in a senator position in WSG, and how do you plan to resolve it?
A challenge I plan to face or expect to face as a senator is many different opinions from the masses. Every student is different. We all have our own individual things that make us unique. And so while one student may want to see change in this area, another student may not want to see that change. One change might be better for that person, and another change may not be good for that person. So just coming together and collaboratively working to see what's the best for the masses as we are a unified student body.
To me, I think the biggest thing would be for students not to trust me, not to come up to me and discuss their issues. So also part of my sergeant at arms position, I did work with domestic disputes inside the student council, but also when I was working I really tried to narrow the gap between admin, staff, and students. So really, I just want students to either come to me, and sometimes if I know there's something going on or there's something that I've heard they dislike, sometimes I'll come to them and I'll say, hey, what can I do? What can we do as a student organization to help out this cause? Because like I said, the thing that hurts me the most is students not coming up to me or any one of the fellow senators or representatives and not telling us their issues or what we can change. Because how are we supposed to change anything if we don't know?
Thank you for those responses. Folks can head back to the gallery. Moving to the secret ballot vote again. As there's one position open this evening, please write down either one of the last names. If there's any questions, please raise your placard at any time, please. Thank you, President West.
Clarify who's who.
Yeah. So, then can you just raise your hand for a second? Thank you. Perfect. And then last name Schmidt, if you could raise your hand. Perfect.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Congratulations, Mims, with a vote of 8-4, being the next Whitewater Student Government Senator. If you could see me after the meeting for additional information, that would be great. And Schmidt, if you're still interested, feel free to reach out to me after the meeting as well. I can talk to you after if you would like. Thank you. Moving on to the one Drumlin seat this evening. Is there anyone interested in the one Drumlin Senate seat? Please. Perfect. Thank you. If you could just give a little bit about yourself and why you would like to join the Whitewater Student Government, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Hi everyone, my name is Owen Retzlaff. I'm going to be majoring in information technology, and I'm a first year student here at Whitewater. And now I'm not involved at all really on campus, but this is the first student organization meeting that I've been to, and it's cool to see how much of an interest everybody here takes in the student body of Whitewater and their cares and concerns. And in my work in student council in high school, I've worked with administrations and students to communicate their concerns with everybody, and I'd be excited to do that here on campus too. Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Autumn LePin. I'm a senior here on campus. I'm majoring in criminology, minoring in sociology. I've worked as a campus service officer for 3 years now, where I've had the opportunity to work as a head CSO. I also serve on the executive board of the criminal justice organization as a developmental director, where I am in charge of helping promote to other students and getting speakers to come in and tell us more about them. Another thing I am very passionate about is community bonding, and I've learned on this campus that that's something I really want to grow, because as a service officer, a lot of people don't like us, so I've had to show them the positives of that too. So I'm very used to negative opinions about things, and I'm very big on growing the knowledge about different organizations.
Perfect. Thank you for those answers. We'll open the floor to questions this evening. Are there any questions for both candidates? Is that everyone?
How do you approach working with someone that you have different beliefs from?
So that's something I'm going to have to get used to for the rest of my life, as I want to work as a law enforcement officer after I graduate. And I know that it's very unique to run into someone with the same exact opinions as you in all areas. So I think it's very important to approach people with respect and know that just because their ideas are different don't mean that it's any less better than you. So it's important to take their ideas into consideration and make sure you do what's best for everyone, even if it goes against what you want.
I agree with that. I also want to say that I like to keep an open mind when I'm talking with other people. I feel like very often I'll see in the news how people just stonewall ideas that don't match up with their own beliefs. But I feel like as long as you can hold your own personal values, that it's important to see where other people are coming from and consider their perspective as well.
Perfect. Any other questions? Sorry, Nathan.
How do you describe your leadership style?
I would say that I'm very people-focused. It's really important to me to get to know the people that I'm leading and communicate with them. And yeah.
I would say my leadership styles are determination. I'm very determined in everything I do. I always strive to become better at something, and I feel like you're never done growing as somebody or in any area. I also would say I'm very passionate, and I always put forth all my effort. I'd also say I'm very involved. I would love to hear everyone's opinions, make sure I take everyone into consideration before doing something, and I learned that as a head CSO that it's very important to get all ideas before choosing something.
Perfect. Any other questions? As we have one more opportunity, I'll go then. How do you stay organized with your busy schedules?
I have a planner that I use. I put everything in there, my classes, my assignments, any meetings or any other obligations. In high school, I never really used a planner, and I just relied on my brain, and that didn't always work so well, and so that was my thing coming here to college, was to get organized.
I agree with that. I use a planner as well, but I also use the fact that mental health is very important to me and it's something I'm very passionate about. So I always take the time to make sure I have time for myself at the end of the day. Even if it's an hour, I make sure to do something I know I'll enjoy. But I always also make sure I get my homework done, my activities done, and any kind of club information I need to get done that day.
Perfect. Thank you for your responses. You both can head back to the gallery. We'll move into a secret ballot vote again. And there's one seat open. Please, one name.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're quiet, but I mean, really quiet.
Thank you very much.
All right, with a vote of 8-4, congratulations, Lavin, and I'm probably next Whitewater Student Government Center. Please see me after the meeting for additional information that I have for you, and also Retzloff, if you are still interested in joining, please also see me at the meeting as well. Thank you. We're moving to the appointment of 2 Rock County Senate seats. Anyone interested in 2 Rock County Senate seats? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Moving into guest speakers this evening, going kind of off track a little bit. Yes. For Rock County? For Rock County? Oh yeah, please come forward. All right, we'll backtrack a little bit. Do gladly backtrack. You can just say your first and last name. If you could just give a little bit about yourself and why you like to join student government, that'd be great.
Okay, my name is Nakaya Spades. I wasn't planning on to coming up here, but I only came here to support my friend. But I've seen like the impact that it has, and I think that would be like something that I'll be interested in. I just transferred here, and it's my so I just I transferred here, and I just wanted to get more involved on campus, and yeah.
Perfect. We'll open up the floor to questions this evening. Are there any questions for candidate Senator West?
How do you approach working with someone with different beliefs than your own?
I don't think that to come into a solution for everybody is that you have to compromise the stuff that you grew up on and the stuff that you think is true. So just to being open and just hearing people out.
Perfect. Senator Rice?
How would you describe your leadership style?
I think I'm very open to every to new things, and I'm very a people person, so I just like to hear and try new things, and yeah.
Senator Reedman?
What, if any, leadership experience have you had before coming to Whitewater?
Well, I played basketball for a lot of my life, and I was I was on the team for just a long time, and I think I brought a lot of sorry, I'm just trying to
Would you like the question repeated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just repeat the question.
What, if any, leadership experience have you had prior to coming to Whitewater?
I would just say being a part of a team to accomplish like a group goal is like a good way to like try to like work with like the people around you and stuff like that.
Any other questions, Senator Irwin, the last question?
If elected, what is one issue you hope to focus on?
Just to like bring like inclusivity to like the student gov, like you guys said. I don't see a lot of people here, and like I didn't even like know about this, so just like the outreach, I guess.
Thank you for those responses. We can send back to the gallery. We'll move to a secret ballot vote again. Since there's only one candidate, we'll move to the vote of aye, A-Y-E, or nay, N-A-Y. All right, congratulations. With the vote of 10-2, you are the newest Whitewater Student Government Center. Please see me after the meeting for additional information as well. Thank you for coming out tonight. Moving along to the agenda with guest speakers, Emeritus Parliamentarian Kerr wanted to have a couple words this evening.
Okay, so I know the meeting's running long already, so I'm not going to take a ton of your time, but I just wanted to be here for the first meeting because WSG is really important to me. I was here at Whitewater for all 4 years. I was only in student government for 2. I served as parliamentarian for just a full school year, all last school year, fall and spring. First of all, welcome back. It's crazy to believe it's a year ago that I was elected parliamentarian, like just that time flies. So I just wanted to give some advice for this school year to get the most out of your time here in student government and also here on campus. My first piece of advice is your students first, so study, make your studies a priority. That's why you're here, you're paying to be here, you're paying for the education, so study hard. The next piece of advice I'd say is find your issue or your topic area that you're passionate about and do something about it. There's so many different issues you could choose to address here on campus, but genuinely, you're here in this body for a reason. You're here to do work for the students. So find that issue and do something about it. The next piece of advice is work together and support where you can. When I was sitting over there, I used to sit over here, so I didn't really get to see this wall very much. When I was sitting in the gallery, I noticed those 3 words up on the top: advocate, collaborate, and elevate. Honestly, embody that. Take that into your role as a senator and work together, support each other, and do the work for the students. Lastly, or a couple of things, you're not only a senator in this room, you're a senator outside this room as well. You do the work in this room, you do the votes, that's kind of like the formality, but a lot of what your job's supposed to be is getting feedback from students, talking to them, going to different org meetings, and then working with the senators and writing a bill about it. So you're not only a senator in this room, so keep that in mind when you're on campus, talking to other students. And then lastly, and this is something that I wish I realized a little bit sooner in my career at school, have fun. This time truly does fly by. Junior year, spring of junior year, it just flew by. All of a sudden, I'm graduating, and now I'm an alumni. So take advantage of every opportunity you have on this campus, have fun, but yeah, just most importantly, yeah, have fun. So, have fun with it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for those kind words, Maris. Back into the approval of the agenda minutes this evening. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from April 29th, 2024? Senator Rice.
Motion to approve.
Seconded by Deputy Speaker Wilson. Is there a voice vote? Acclamation to be called. Any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes from April 29th, 2024 have been approved unanimously. Moving into the approval of the agenda from September 9th, 2024, is there a motion to approve the agenda? Parliamentarian Patricus.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Seconded by Senator West. Is there a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Acclamation's been called. Any opposed? Seeing none, the agenda from September 9th, 2024 has been approved unanimously. Moving into student issues and concerns this evening, are there any student issues and concerns in the gallery? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Moving into reports, starting with external committee reports, which we have none of. Moving into officer reports, starting with President Douglas Bradley.
Good evening. I don't want to be that person, but I think we can do better than that. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Mr. Deputy Speaker. As we begin our journey into another academic year, I think this is a really good time to reflect. To reflect on not only what we've done, what we will do, but more importantly, why we are here. During the 2023-24 academic year, we provided our constituents with many large victories. Director Robinson, Clerk Wolfington, Speaker Fadness, and then President Izzo heavily advocated for our students and created many great changes in parking. We as an organization spent hundreds of hours advocating for our students and passed 16 pieces of legislation. We began conversations around the Dean of Students reform and better services provided to students by career services. We advocated for our faculty and requested they be paid their fair wage increases. And the list goes on and on and on. But it's also imperative to understand that our work must continue. We aren't taking any time off from serving our peers. The directors seated before you today did not stop working since last year. Over the summer, they continued to meet with administrators. They worked to better our organizational outreach, and they continue to do what they do best, representing their peers. And if I may go off script a little bit, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to give these directors a hand for all they've done this summer. This summer, I declared several priorities in which this organization will focus. Academic advising, career services, Dean of Students, election engagement and education, the one-stop, parking, as well as increasing our organizational awareness and increasing our organizational involvement. Mark my words, we will fill the Senate this year.
Off to a great start.
Off to a very great start. While I assure you that we have been, it's going to be a busy yet rewarding year ahead, more important to me is understanding why we are all here. We have one job, to represent the voice of our peers. It's why we do what we do. We would be out of a job without the students. You will hear the director say that a lot. In every action you take as a senator, you should first think about its effect on students. We are incredibly fortunate to have the opportunity to serve such a diverse group of individuals. As members of the Whitewater student government, we have the power to turn vision into reality. Any challenge we face is simply an opportunity in disguise. With every initiative we take on, every decision we make, we have the chance to reshape our campus environment into one that is more inclusive, more vibrant, and more reflective of our collective aspirations. We will be the pioneers of progress and the champions of resiliency. As we begin the 2024-25 academic year together, let's remember that our work is not just about what we achieve, but the impact we leave behind. Let us strive to create a legacy of excellence, collaboration, and innovation. Together, we will make a difference in the lives of students that will be felt long after our time here. But I will tell you this, our roles as student representatives will not always be easy. We will be faced with enormous adversity. Many of us have already experienced this in the past few weeks. You may find yourself in a place where you're unsure how you're going to push past these struggles, but I know how you will. We will do it together. We will advocate for students together. We will prosper together. We will stand together. We will lead together. We will be champions of resiliency together. And God forbid we ever have to grieve, we will grieve together. Let us show this great university, all of the University of Wisconsin System Schools, our faculty, staff, and community, that even on our toughest days, we are blessed to be Warhawks. I will leave you with one final message. Decisions are made by those who show up, and choices, not chance, determine your destiny. So I have decided that we will do this little thing we like to do called shared governance with others, and I am choosing to do it all with you, my fellow Warhawks. Thank you, and God bless.
Any questions for the president this evening? Going once, going twice, seeing no questions. Thank you for those words. We'll move to the report of Vice President Payne.
All right, so I heard that speech a couple days before, and this kind of leaves me in a weird spot because how do you follow that up, right? So I was in the shower a couple of weeks ago, okay, and I'm thinking to myself, why am I here? Why am I in government? Why did I choose to run for this position with Douglas? And it wasn't until recently why I discovered why I was here. And so Douglas and I, after some conversations, came to this quote right here: not for oneself, but for others. And if there is one thing that I would like for y'all to remember for this meeting to take throughout the whole year, it's that. And that we are here to be servant leaders, not to serve not only each other, but all of our fellow peers outside this room as well. So, with that, I have a couple other updates that you can read on the list. But also, if everybody could come see me after this meeting, I have some signups for y'all for County Council, which is going to be on Tuesday the 17th, and for the Involvement Fair, which is this Wednesday. So if everybody could come see me after that, and then also name and a couple other bits of information you can fill out to get placards in my hands. So, thank you.
Perfect. Any questions for the Vice President this evening? Senator Irwin?
One of your updates mentions that you're continuing to work on office organization. Could you go into some detail about what that entails?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been working with a lot of our executives, getting the area cleaned up, organizing stuff. I know one other thing that I'm looking at going into is getting a lot of our legislation all digitally. Getting rid of some of that stuff in there. So,
thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions this evening? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Thank you for that report. Moving to the report of WSG Advisor, Ms. Jan Billy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Welcome to campus for first years and welcome back to all of you. My name is Jan Bilgan. I use she, they pronouns, and I serve as the advisor to Whitewater Student Government. So glad to see you all here. My role is to basically help provide the bridge between university process, practices, and procedures, state law, federal law, and continuity from one year to the next, and help facilitate what I will affectionately call purple tape to help you do all the things that you want to do. This, I don't know what else to call it. It's well intended, if nothing else. I would share that I've spent some time with Director Smith this summer, continuing to have conversations about the committee called Warhawk Votes. It's a campus-wide committee that we get to chair jointly, which I appreciate working with him. I think we've made some really great progress and a lot of great plans, so I'm sure you'll get lots more of that in the days and weeks to come. I would also share with you, if you all want to get a pen out, if you don't already have one, please mark your calendar for September 27th. It's a Friday afternoon. That's when the Senate SUFAC retreat will be. And that will be a couple hours of time where you'll get to learn some basic skills about being in the Senate, but you'll also get trained from folks at System Legal about the segregated fee allocation process, both the allocable side, which is SUFAC, and the non-allocable side, which your WSG leadership serves on a non-allocable committee. So please protect that time as much as you can. The speaker will work with the speaker leadership and myself to create an agenda and actual times. But if you could please mark that calendar and try to protect it. So if you are working and you can ask for that afternoon off, that would be really helpful. It's nice to have, or what will be almost a full Senate by then, so we can have everybody go through that training at one time. So, okay.
What date is this?
The 27th of September.
We'll be
Yeah,
full
2
by then.
meetings, so y'all can get that. No problem. Not a problem. And I think the last piece that I would just say to assist your vice president is there are a lot of things going on. Make sure that you've signed up for both the involvement fair, or if you aren't going to help guide the common council meeting here, please make sure that you try to attend. There are a couple things that are on the agenda that are significant. They'll be talking about this safety of Starin Road and the intersection at the bookstore, and how campus is trying to make some proposals to make that safer. They'll also be hearing from Doug on a couple issues, and I think it would be great if, kind of like bring a friend for them to see this. We have spent some time at council meetings. I've been at several council meetings over the summer, and there are some folks on the council that have never been on campus before. So it would be great if we could give them a lovely Warhawk welcome, but let them see all the work that you're doing as well. And other than hoping to see you all at the involvement fair, I will yield, Mr. Speaker, to questions or concerns.
Is it true that the town council will also likely be speaking about a spring splash task force at the 9/17?
I believe it has been requested to be on the agenda. I'm uncertain about the task force makeup at this point from the university side of the equation. But yes, they'll be talking about Spring Splash Task Force. And Spring Splash is a student opportunity to close. This is how I think of Spring Splash. It is an opportunity for students to be social in the safest of ways in the spring of the year, when we're all tired of being inside and have icky weather. And it can have a great effect on people, and it can have a horrific effect on people. And so I believe the task force will be talking about some of those things and how to attract people to make them be more positively experienced by their time at Spring Splash.
Is it true that?
I need to work better on my report. Okay.
No, Director Robinson.
Is it true that students have never, ever, ever gone in debt with their student fee money, with their segregation?
I cannot say ever or never, but I can say in the last 60 years, no. Y'all have always been in what I would say the black, and you've also supported the institution in other ways that help them stay in the black. So yes, no, student government and student leadership on our campus for as long as I've known, and for the 10 years before I've known, so that would put us at 50, have always been very good stewards of not only how they spend money, but also how they allocate it, so that it is being treated in a stewardship way that helps as many students as possible.
Senator Rice?
So for the 27th, is there a rough time kind of where, like, would it be like afternoon or morning? Because certain students might have classes during that day, and I know you'll try to be inclusive for.
Right, we try to make it so it works for as many people. So all of you have your calendars completely embedded into your brain right now. Probably not. Mr. Speaker may ask for technology and allow people to bring their phones out. Take a look. How many of you have class at 1 o'clock on Friday? Raise your hand. Straw poll. Well, those in the gallery who are elected, I would include you also. I know, right? No one raised their hand that I saw, so I guess you got to time it. So there you go. There's a straw poll. We'll aim for 1 o'clock, but we'll check in with people next week. Okay. Thank you for the question. That was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, as it relates to scheduling. Thank you. It's been a rough couple days, so thank you, folks, for that. Any other questions? I would just add one last thing, Mr. Speaker. Please feel free to email me at any time. Bilgen, B as in boy, I-L-G-E-N as in Nancy J. If there's anything, I'm happy to meet with folks, talk about legislation, talk about the steps that you could do to not necessitate writing legislation, you also can reach out to me through the Student Activities and Involvement front desk. You can schedule time with me, put it on my Outlook calendar if you're using an Outlook calendar like that, or you can use Navigate to see when I'm available. So hope to get to know all of you better and see you all soon.
Perfect. Seeing no other questions this evening for that report, we'll move on to e-board reports, starting with Director Reiser.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a great summer and are excited to be back. So over the summer, I attended 3 advising retreats. And so these, we got some discussions, some work done there. So I'll just kind of give a brief recap. We have a new director of academic advising, which is Marissa Roll-Hainstock. And so she started her role in August. No, it was June. So she's continuing that. And then over the summer, we outlined a communication plan for the remainder of the semester. And so basically we went through, looked at touch points that a student would go through within advising, and tried to figure out how to make that more consistent amongst that. We are also in the process of updating the major change form because some of the language is kind of confusing for students. So we're working on making that easier to fill out because that'll make the whole process of assigning an advisor to students easier. And so I will keep you updated on when that new form has been released. We also had conversations about optimizing the Navigate usage. So the Navigate is the app that students schedule appointments to meet with their advisor. And so there are college experts in each college now that if an advisor has a question, then they can just reach out to the expert in the college and get some questions answered. And then also we're looking at some other features that Navigate has to collect more data, like a survey that will be sent out right after someone has an advising session to get more feedback immediately. And then we also looked at the advising assessment data from that survey that was sent to students last year to create an infographic. So I will share that with you all once that is like for sure set in stone, ready to share. And then we're also taking a look at those questions in our meetings this year. And then College Scheduler, which had previously been used, is not being continued, so that we can't use that anymore to take a look at scheduling. So registration and Stellic, that is going to be beginning this spring semester, not this semester. So what we're using this fall semester is just what you all have been using so far, which is WINS and the AAR. And then I also worked with President Bradley and Dr. Robinson on some plans for career services. Last week I met with Provost Chenoweth, and so one of the things we talked about was the excuse absence policy, which is in effect starting this year. And so we're working on getting that out to students and educating students on that policy. And then I'm this week meeting with some deans, and then I have some other meetings that you can take a look at there. And then just some quick important dates. The last day to add a class is tomorrow, so if you want to do that, make sure you do that. And then also the last day to drop a course is September 16th. And if you have any questions related to that, just let me know. And with that, I yield to any questions.
Is there any questions for Director Reiser?
You briefly mentioned some plans towards career services. Could you go into more detail about that?
I will leave that to Director Robinson.
Got it.
It will be shared at a Senate meeting when Career Services Director Josh Reed shows, and it will be in the packet for you to view at that time.
Are there any other questions for Director Reiser this evening? Seeing none, thank you for that report. Moving to the report of Director Robinson.
All right, so Mr. Speaker, bear with me with my report today. So first, I need everybody to take out their phones really quick. Everybody take out your phones. If you have not, you should download this really cool app called Campus Groups. It's the new Connect 2. And then everybody in the space should join the student government page. That way you can get updates, that way you can get surveys, and that's the way that we'll be communicating. Like, that's the new listserv that the speaker uses to send out the agenda. That's the way that a lot of our communication internally will be going out moving forward. So you won't really see many Google Sheets anymore. You won't be seeing any like Google surveys. All of that will be used in Connect 2. So it's really important for you to join that group to start. So The next thing I wanted to, go ahead. It's called Campus Groups. It's in the App Store. It's a blue app with like some circles around it. If you need help, I'll come after I get done with my report.
The Whitewater one should be up by Wednesday. No, October 1st, so there'll be another one.
And then I wanted, before I dive into my report, I wanted to start with a quote. It's not where you work, it's who you work with that makes the job worth going to every day, right? And that's something for me that really hits home because, I'll be real vulnerable real quick. As most of you guys know, I lost an election, and I'm very competitive, very competitive. I'm a very competitive person, but the level of humility and the level of respect that I have for the person who won speaks volumes about the character. Not one time did he belittle me. Not one time did he say to me, "You lost." He literally said to me, "I still need you." I'm like, huh? I just lost. He's like, "No, I still need you. We got work to do. Get to work." I'm like, just like that? He's like, "Yeah, bro, we got work to do. You're gonna come to the interview. We're gonna keep moving." And I said to myself, like, I don't appreciate it. Like, I smiled about it. But I say that to say that the work goes on. The work that we do in this space and the work that we do and the power that each and every one of us has is probably the most powerful we have in our lives. The most powerful people on this campus is students. Don't ever let nobody tell you different. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you don't got a voice and you don't got power. No students, no pay. No students, no jobs. Simply put. Don't ever let anybody minimize your voice and tell you that your concern don't matter. Always work collaboratively too. So I'll get into my report really quick. So this summer, I supported the university through the one-stop efforts. The one-stop is up and running. It's been effective. So I discussed the rebrand of the Dean of Students Office. I met constantly with Dr. Veronica Warren with Speaker Fatness. So I'm excited about the direction that we'll be moving in over the next couple of weeks. There'll be some reform committees. There'll be some different things that are happening in that space. Working with career services to better serve students. I met with Josh Reed along with Abby. We're going to have some bi-weekly meetings with career services, and we're also going to work really hard this year to combine academic affairs and student affairs and work more collaboratively with each other, not only within student government, but on a larger scale with the administration. Sat on the searching screen for the program specialist for intersectionality. I'm really excited to see the direction that we're moving in and continue that work in that space. And then I also met with Kristen Philhauer and Frank Bartlett, along with Joe for bi-weekly meetings. Joe and Doug attended some of those as well. We met bi-weekly over the summer. And then I met with Angela to discuss the hottest topic on our campus right now, dining. Really quick, I'm gonna go off script again, really quick. I have one question. And I only want this question answered about dining. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. I just want this one question answered because I need it. Do you think if Ice Schaefer Commons allows you to use one meal swipe and you can get an entree and a side and then like an all-you-can-eat salad bar with a drink, do you think that that is a suitable thing for your meal swipe?
How would you like our answer?
I just want to hear yes or no. Like, if you want to do like
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yes.
Somebody understand it.
So I'll repeat it again. So if you go to Ike Schaefer Commons, so as of right now, right, Ike Schaefer Commons is considered retail. So you get the $7.50 meal equivalency. Do you think if you can go to Ike Schaefer Commons, swipe your card, choose an entree and a side. So for example, you can get a burger and fries. You can go up to the salad bar, make your own salad as many times as you want, and then go get a drink. Do you think that is a solid thing for your meal? So do you think that's of more value than what you're currently getting? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
I mean, are you yielding your question?
Yeah. I'm not yielding. You want me to wait to the end?
I'll wait for the
Yeah.
Because if discussion breaks out.
Okay, so everybody thinks that's a good thing.
Yes.
Okay, let's start. Okay, cool. I need that. I'll need that in writing later. Last week I met with Angela and the VP of Charlotte and Marketing to discuss some dining concerns. So there'll be, I can promise you they're working through things. We're working through some logistics. We're improving, right? But I will say too, this is what I will say to you. Give grace to those, and also think about the grace that you will want. We have dining staff that are working literally 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. We have dining staff that are literally busting their butt. And we have people who are being affected by some of the comments that they're seeing regarding dining, who have really put in a lot of work. Some of our peers have not been the most respectful to these staff. There have been cups thrown at people who are cashiers. There's been a lot of things going on. So make sure next time you're at that dining hall, you say thank you. You smile. You don't know how far that'll go to people who are really busting their butt to make sure that this thing happens and is successful. I met with Katrina Hiller. We're talking about bringing Marley Lease. She is a sexual assault survivor who's also a part of the LGBTQ community, who was the first case to end in a restorative justice process. Is that you familiar with restorative justice? And then the last thing is I sat on the Chancellor's Committee for Student Success. Next week I'll have bi-weeklies with the Dean of Student to finalize the 3 committees that will be coming out, and then meet with career services staff. And to that, Mr. Speaker, I yield to any questions.
Any questions, Deputy Chief Wilson?
So, if you transitioned to Ike Schaefer and it began to look like that, what currently exists about Ike Schaefer not exist there anymore? So would it be a full overhaul? Like it would now be you swipe that middle swipe and that's all that you can do at Ike Schaefer's? Or is it everything that exists at Ike Schaefer's plus this addition?
So there will be some limitations, right? Like, so don't ask me the names because I'm going to get them wrong. Yeah. But right now there's like a burger option, there's a chicken and waffles type of option, and then there's a pasta option, right? So what'll happen is, and I'm just giving a timetable. This is nothing I'm saying right now is set in stone. Yeah. But let's say for a month, right? The things that we have down there are the burgers, the chicken and waffles, and the pasta. Some way, we haven't got into the grass and the weeds about it, but there will be a conversation with students about what we like and what we don't like. And then the month is a verbatim thing, like I'm just using, for example, we'll have that conversation about possibly flipping it to something else. Like, so let's say students love the burgers, then the burgers will stay. But there's a possibility that it could change. As of right now, everything would stay the same. The only addition would be that salad bar and then the desserts. So they would add those things, and then there would be the make your own salad type of ordeal.
He yielded. Just to be clear, so from what I've heard from you and from what I've heard from Angela, right, is that anybody can go in there and still buy lunch and do all of that. I mean, you can be a walk-up person and you can be a faculty member. You don't have to have a meal plan to eat in there. That will continue. But what it will allow is they're making some plan in order to allow someone who has a meal swipe to swipe here instead of walking back to the dining hall. So they're working on that. There'll be a short-term and I think a longer-term solution. And then what Director Robinson is talking about is that they'll rotate the entree because you'll only be able to have one entree, but you'll be able to have like here to eat of other things. So that's the part that's, this is the part where student government does the walking and the talking with the other 2 legs of the 3-legged stool to help balance things out and give them a little bit of time also to get 100% back up to where they need to be in the other retail. So that there's a hybrid of retail and residential eating proposed potentially in the Ike Schaefer.
Any other questions there?
Yes, I do apologize if this doesn't fall under your portfolio, but I've noticed that some of the irritation at the new dining plan appears to come from some students who don't think that they were properly informed of the changes. Have there been any conversations about how to improve communications?
So what I will say to you is every student got an email about the dining changes from Hawk Card, Angela, and Warhawk Dining. That was 2 weeks, huh?
2 weeks.
So 2 emails were received. If you are a UC employee, if you are an RA, you were also notified about the changes. And they're working on more communication. They have owned that they could have done a better job, but outreach was provided, especially to returning students, new students. Every store was notified of the changes. One of the biggest things is that it was a revolving door, so they didn't want to keep giving you information that was going to change. So we needed patience from the student body for us to make sure that what we were giving you was the final product and the final result. But communication was given. And with that, I'll yield to President Bradley.
I will also add that many of the changes students are upset about was shared with this group last year by Angela and Tess, and so I think it's partially on us as well that we did not share this adequately with our constituents. In addition, it was in all the terms and conditions, and there was also, once you had to register, it made it very clear, are you sure you're signing up for X, Y, and Z? Please click confirm. So students were notified. I understand if students have read their email over the summer or whatnot, but communication did go out, and communication is still being worked on.
And I'll add that the Hall Card office is more than willing to sit down and talk to anybody who has questions about a meal plan if you go to their office and have a conversation.
Yeah, I've heard students around me mention stuff about different pricing on the stuff where the pricing is different on the app than it is on the boards. I've heard it's more on the apps. I think some students have a problem with that, seeing it's like false advertisement. They're kind of saying of the pricing.
So first, I'm gonna start with a backstory.
Yes.
Then I'm gonna yield to parliamentarian Rodriguez. I'm sorry, it's new for me. I'm sorry. Really quick. So a lot of things are changing. Charwell's heard our feedback, and they are working through menu items to lower some of the prices. But they're also the IT team here in the UC is also working through updating some of those prices as well. So the prices will change, but what I can say is most of the changes are to your benefit to showcase your value for under that $750. So that's why there's a lot of fluctuating prices. And I also know that they're working through like some bugs and glitches within the system as well to fix those. I hope I answered. I was accurate.
I was part of the team that helps develop mobile ordering here. So the app should be the correct prices. I don't want to go too deep into my grievances with Chartwell right now, but there have been a lot of price changes, menu changes in the past 2 weeks. So the board may not be super accurate. The app should be the correct prices. We did a little test run with mobile ordering with Einstein's last year, but of course when you're going from 200 students using it to, I think last looked it was like 1,500 in a week. Essentially, you're going to have some bugs and some issues arise, but if you have feedback or you are noticing something, send a message. If you go to the Dine on Campus website, UW Dining, just Google that. You can send feedback there, but please communicate any concerns
You were told, Director Brad. President Bradley, myself, Director, and Director, wow. We were notified today as of noon that the apps were not working and that they were actively working to fix. So we'll get right on that.
And I understand with all of the, I guess, being here. That makes sense.
Or just send me an email and I'll text my boss to fix it. So you can do that as well.
Any other questions this evening for Director Robinson? Thank you for that report. Moving to the report of Associate Director Val Ferry.
Hey everybody, I know it's late, but we're almost there, so bear with us. So first off, happy second week of classes and welcome to the first student government meeting of the year. Just a little bit about myself for those who already know me and those who don't. My name is Joe Balistreri, and I know my official title is the Associate Director of Student Affairs, but if you ever see me around, please just call me by my first name, Joe. What I have to say is pretty short, mostly because I just got this position since my first year here. So I had a couple meetings with Director Robinson and President Bradley this summer to kind of help me transition into this. But I am excited to give you some more info next week. This upcoming week, or this week, I'm meeting with Ben Smith to discuss some more discuss more on finalizing the housing fair, which is supposed to be scheduled for Tuesday, October 1st. And as we all know, the semester is going to be very busy, especially with some obligations that we put on ourselves. But I'm more than happy to hear any comments, questions, or concerns that you may have. Please just reach out and have yourself a great week and go Warhawks.
Any questions for Assistant Director Elster? Once or twice you done, thank you for that report. Moving to the report of Director Smith.
Everyone, apologies for the long report. We've had a very busy summer. I hope you're all ready for a jam-packed year, because I know I am. So this summer I began work on a candidate Q&A form that will increase students' direct access to the candidates who will be on their ballots in November. 2 candidates are confirmed and 4 candidates are waiting to confirm their October schedule because they schedule much later in the year than I thought they would. I met with the Warhawks Vote Committee, like Dan said, 3 times over the summer to solidify some plans and processes for the fall. If you're interested in attending committee meetings, please let me know. We're always welcoming new students. We created a standard Warhawks Vote presentation, delivered it at ULEAD and the All Greek meeting. Looking forward to presenting that at Greek 101, potential new student seminars, other things like that. I tabled at HawkFest, provided emergency response support the weekend before school begins, and I attended the Org Summit and aided in drafting the Freedom of Expression Statement. I met with the Chancellor's Committee for Inclusive Excellence for the first time, and I'm looking forward to learning more about their work as their attendance grows. And I began establishing the 50 and 15 initiative that you'll hear more about me now. Last week, I continued work on the Q&A forum series, met with the Warhawks Vote Committee to set up a regular meeting time. I got in contact with first-year experience about potential presentations at new student seminar classes, scheduled the first Warhawks Vote volunteer training for tonight after student government. So if you're interested in volunteering, please see me after the meeting. And then this week, I met with Chancellor King this morning to discuss the intersections of my work as a council member, director of student government, and a one-stop employee. I'm meeting with Kim Clarkson to work on how to use Connect 2 for the 50-15 initiative. I'm connecting with department chairs to share the Warhawks Vote presentation with their departments. And I recorded, actually today, the Warhawks Vote presentation so it can be shared further, and it doesn't need a volunteer there to give the presentation. Some upcoming city events. There's a food truck festival, September 14th at Gravatt Front Park, and there's going to be a beer tent from Second Salem, so if you're old enough for that, enjoy that. The library, Irving L. Young Library, not the on-campus library, I realized I should have clarified that in my report, will be closing for a renovation project on September 16th. And then Aldi is opening September 19th at 8:50 a.m. Weird time, but that's when the ribbon cutting ends. So if you want to be there for that, be the first people in line. That's a Thursday morning. The annual waterway cleanup is September 21st from 8 to 10 a.m. So if you need volunteer hours, that's a great opportunity. Other than that, please feel free to email me if you have questions or see me after for questions about volunteering, registering to vote, or the council meeting next week. I already field questions.
Any questions for Director Smith this evening? Once or twice seen none. Thank you for that report. Thank you for the report of Director Doppy, who is not here or online possibly, but please read. Yeah, please read her report in the packet, and then to be all set there. Moving to the report of WSG Clerk for the festival.
Hello everyone, it's great to be back. I hope you all had a great summer and you're ready to start running this semester. Some updates that I have, Jordan wanted to be more with this summer, but I'm going to be working with Parky this semester, and we're working on a problem time to figure out what we're going to need. I've been updating the website, so Parliamentarian Patricus and Speaker Wilson, please listen. If you could send me a headshot or ask Director Dottie next week for a headshot and a bio, please, as soon as possible, so that I can update that. And then I've been updating, organizing the Google Drive, and I have to create the fall 2024 Senate election calendar with the Vice President. I have to meet with our Internal Affairs Director and others in preparation for the lovely election coming in November. And then lastly, feel free to reach out to me with any questions or concerns, especially if you're interested in my position and learning more about it or applying for it, because those interviews will happen in November.
Any questions for the clerk this evening? Going twice, seeing none. Moving on to the report of parliamentarian Tricus.
I just want to say thank you all for electing me to this position. Hope you all had a great summer. I spent my summer working here with dining, so very fun. If you have concerns, as someone who also works in the Hawk Card office, if you want to complain about, or you want to cancel your meal plan or change it, contact the Hawk Card office. If you're there to complain about prices being too high, please contact dining. Don't call the Hawk Card office or info services. Kim, the office admin there, keeps ranting to me about that, so I'd like that to decrease a little bit. SUFAC and NALT meetings this week and involvement fair. Outreach event calendar coming soon, hopefully next week. But yeah, better yield.
Any questions for parliamentarian Tricus? Moving on to the report of Deputy Speaker Wilson.
To keep it super short, thank you all so much. Let's have a wonderful year. Office hours, let's touch base about them all. We'll see what makes the most sense for all of us this year, whether it's sign the, scan the QR code, etc. But we're gonna kill it, right? Awesome.
Any questions for Deputy Speaker Wilson? Moving into my report this evening. Hopefully everyone had a wonderful summer. Some things I've been up to. I've met with the SUFAC chair and the NALT committee and the SUFAC committee as well to get things ready for the year regarding all of that. I've also met with Director Robinson and the dean to talk about reshaping the dean of students and do more information on that as well in the later parts of the year, because I'll be working on that this year. I will be sending out the committee form this week, or actually tonight after the meeting. So please fill that out by Friday at noon. If you were here last year, it's the external and internal committee report Google form where you can select which internal committees and external committees you'd like to be on. The internal committee is, I don't want to get self-explanatory, but it's a committee where we deal with internal affairs, and external committees where we deal with external affairs such as administration and other topics as well. If you would like more information on that, please let me know after I yield the questions. Also, I will be tying up a lot of loose ends from last year after we did a lot of positive change last year and making sure parking and all those projects are sealed, signed, delivered. So, and also CRC as well. So that's what I'll be doing this year. If you have any questions about student government or anything like that, please reach out to me in person, email. My email is on the packet as well, WSG speaker, and it's also at the bottom of the agenda as well. I'll be in the office this week, obviously, and trying to see if I'm missing anything. I don't believe so. Please see me after the meeting if you were elected a position tonight, because I have more information for you all. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that is it. Is there any questions for this evening? Deputy Speaker Wilson.
Is it true that your Outlook calendar is completely up to date and very open to meetings?
That is very true, yes. Please,
Awesome.
and please use my personal email, which is my name. You can look up Fadness, and my email will come up because I'm holding Fadness at the school. Director Robinson.
Got a lot of new senators in the space, got a lot of visitors today. Can you just elaborate a bit on how important it is to attend committee meetings and be an advocate in those spaces? How important are internal and external committees to what we do?
Yeah, so internal and external committees are kind of the core of how we operate in student government, right? So internal committees are kind of the internal processes, like I said. So an example of an internal committee would be the Academic Affairs Committee. So dealing with academic topics, whether it's issues on the academic side or creating an honor award presentation or event for professors on campus. Or, for example, the Internal Evaluation Committee, as Deputy Speaker Wilson mentioned earlier. The CRC, which deals with the Constitution and student government, amending and making sure things are up to date with that, which I plan to, as I mentioned before, fix up and update this year as well with all of you. So that is kind of more information on internal committees. And then for external, like I said, you'll be dealing with more of on the administration side. So the administration that work on campus. So it can be anything from working with Ryan Callahan, the athletic director, on an external committee, dealing with athletics, or dealing with the university curriculum committee, where you're dealing with administration and professors, dealing with curriculum issues and curriculum updates on campus. And with those external committee reports also comes external committee reports during the Senate meeting. So letting everyone know what is happening at these meetings that you attend externally, and letting everyone know the updates that you can provide after attending the meeting, as well as any updates for us to make the student life and student experience better through the meetings that you attend. So, like I said, it's the core of what we do in this organization. So the reports, the meetings that you attend couldn't be more important. So that form will go out tonight, as I mentioned earlier, and that will be due Friday at noon. Please let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, any other questions this evening for me? My apologies for a long meeting. It's the first meeting. A lot of due process is crazy. Seeing no other questions, we'll move on to unfinished business, which we have done. And then move into new business, starting with the student organization freedom of expression statement. President Bradley, you have the floor.
Thank you. Hello again. So over the summer, there was a summit held by SAI staff, Student Activities and Involvement, and all of our student organization leaders were invited to attend. At that meeting, these student organization leaders participated in different discussions and whatnot with the hopes of defining what is freedom of expression and what it means to us at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. There were 31 student organizations in attendance. Like I said, all 180 plus were invited, 31 showed. And what they did is they met amongst themselves, shared their thoughts with the chair of the Politics, Government, and Law Department chair, right? Professor Gimbel, which then he took, made this draft, then came to Jan and I, it came to me.
It went back to the 50 plus students that gave him the feedback.
Went back, they really liked it, then it came to us.
There you go.
We read through it, made some very, very, very minor changes, and it is now going back out to all student organizations. I will let you know that I have endorsed this, and it's been sent to the chancellor as well as the vice chancellors. And the purpose, or why I'm bringing it to you today, is we'd like the body to endorse it as well. I will say the top half, 2/3 of the page is the statement itself. I'll call out the 4 points: a commitment to free expression, respect for difference in the inherent dignity of every person, intention to understand, and inclusivity and empathy are the 4 main points of this statement. At the bottom, there is a pre-event optional statement that I will read for you all. The point of this is it can be read before any event held by any student organization, kind of how the land acknowledgement is read, but expressing their endorsement of this bill. So I'll use us, the Whitewater Student Government. So we, the Whitewater Student Government, host of this event, support and acknowledge the student organization's freedom of expression statement. It is our expectation that all those present with us today engage with one another in a manner that is respectful and with the intention of listening to understand, while also being mindful of the statement's 4 values: a commitment to free expression, respect for difference and inherent dignity of every person, intention to understand, inclusivity, and empathy. By adhering to these values, we ensure that the voice of every Warhawk is heard at this event. That will be read by student organizations should they choose to endorse this bill and to read it at their event. So I'd like to give, with the speaker's permission, a couple minutes to please read through this, comb through this. We are looking for your endorsement, a vote of your endorsement.
So please take a minute to vote this.
I'm happy to take questions as they arise.
Yeah. We'll be moving into discussion and questions on it, and then we'll be voting. Or sorry, discussion and questions.
2.5
All right, moving to discussion on the matter, starting with Deputy Speaker Wilson.
So I think the statement's super important. I think it was really good. It was over a little while ago. And that being said, I would just also like to express a little bit of gratitude to President Bradley for bringing it to the body, because I think it's really important for some of the new folks in the gallery. This is the kind of thing we do. So yeah, it's important stuff like this, and I appreciate you bringing it to us. So looks really good, and I encourage you all to vote in support.
I will say many eyes have seen this, and it definitely wasn't one person. Our representative was Director Smith, and so thank you to them for kind of representing us at meeting other groups as well.
Sorry,
Yeah, so what is your clarification on hate speech and its relation to free speech?
Hate speech versus free speech. Somewhere we as a university have that exact definition. I can definitely pull that for you.
It's a legal definition.
There is a legal definition that we can get for you, but it is referenced. It is available for you to find, and I'll get that fixed. I don't want to mix. I can tell you what it means to me, but truthfully, it doesn't matter. But as defined in here, there is an actual definition, legal definition. I'll yield to Director
Robinson.
Hate speech has to be directed at a person. For example, Advisor Bilgan, I hate you. I don't like that you exist. That is hate speech. I have directed that towards her, and I said her name. Anything outside of that pretty much falls under free speech.
I think there's a much more in-depth definition somewhere that we can find for you.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. Thank you.
Any other discussion points?
He doesn't hate me either, just to be clear. I'm assuming.
You're all good in my book.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking for a little more clarification under the pre-event optional statement. When it's talking about we, the host of this event, and then is the intent for them to go behalf the org and at the event and say that statement and acknowledge that they are acknowledging this bill and support it, correct?
Yeah, it can be read by any organization. The idea is one that's endorsed it. I could be in charge of Dodgeball Club, right? We're having an event where we think freedom of expression is very important. I can read this as a reminder to all the students in attendance and community members in attendance that we have endorsed this and we expect them to abide by it. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
Any other discussion points? We're on discussion, just to be clear. So if we're not asking any questions, even though we kind of covered, which is okay. We're talking about discussion right now. Senator Irwin.
I'd like to preface what I'm about to say by saying that I think this is an excellent document, very well written, very comprehensive, and I plan to vote to endorse it. That being said, considering that it is a student organization freedom of expression statement, I would have liked to see students be more involved in the crafting of it. Some 31 out of 180 plus organizations were consulted. They were not told before the event that this would be on the agenda and were given materials to think about the event by the faculty. Then it went to administration before coming to us for approval. Now, once again, I realize that this is a bill that's optional to be read, or a statement that's optional to be read out. And like I said, I think it's a excellently written bill that I plan to endorse, but I still would have liked to see a wider ranging and longer conversation among students about its development.
I'd like to respond. As a student org leader who only receives communication as if I was and the chair of any other organization, it was very clear what would be discussed at this meeting from early on, I'd even add. There were even organizations who came to SAI and said they would have liked to know this was happening, and conversations were had with those individuals letting them know that it was very, very clear. I'm not saying that because I like the folks over in SAI. I'm saying that as somebody who's in charge of an org, it was made very clear to me that if I attended this, we would be focusing on this. As for the chancellor, it went to administration, not for their approval or anything, just so they were aware of it.
You requested it, actually.
The chancellor requested it, and I'd also add that Student Gov is receiving this before any other student organization has received it. So please know that this body was a priority in receiving this document, and I don't see the importance of WSG receiving it before the chancellor, as he's not taking any action on it. I'd like to yield to Director Roberts.
As a student who not only is representative of WSG, but also works as a student activities and involved in an intern, I can tell you that every student org on this campus was reached out to regarding the SAI Summit. 4 different occasions with the opportunity to sign up to be a part of this conversation. This conversation was specifically asked for by our chancellor due to the circumstances of an election happening in November. There was ample, and I mean ample, communication about this conversation being held, and there were multiple parties that were invited to be a part of that conversation when it was drafted. Students wrote this, and it was revised by a professor, but students wrote this, students were consulted, and students will continue to be consulted about this matter.
I'd also like to add on to that, thank you, Jordan, that SAI staff were very flexible and with working with student organizations who couldn't attend that actual meeting, and they did share this document with those leaders and received feedback from those leaders as well. So SAI, student activities involvement, was very, very flexible with students.
I guess I have a point of clarification. If this, for whatever reason, wasn't passed by endorsed by the Senate, would it still go forward to the student?
Absolutely. This will be going to every student organization, regardless of whether we endorse it or not. I personally think it is a fantastic document, and like I said, I have already endorsed it as WSU president, so hoping to get the whole body next to my name as well.
Just for a point of clarification, did you also consult your executive board before doing so? Like it wasn't just a thing, it was a...
Yep, the executive board did receive this the day before I endorsed it, yes. Thank you, Jordan.
Any other discussion points before we move on to questions? Okay, no other discussion points. Moving on to questions then, and we've already had some, which is okay. Seeing no other questions, we'll, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll? Yes, so a vote of aye would approve or endorse, I wouldn't say legislation or bill, but
You heard him. If you heard him. Equals yes. Oh, yes. And it sounds like I won't.
Speaker, we're working on it for you here.
perfect. Thank you. So a vote of aye would be a vote to endorse, and a vote of nay would be a vote to not endorse. So Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Senator Fulkerson?
Aye.
Senator Irwin?
Aye.
Senator Esserholm?
Aye.
Senator Houston?
Aye.
Senator Michael?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen?
Aye.
Senator Patricus?
Aye.
Senator Rice?
Aye.
Senator West?
Aye.
Senator Wietanen?
Aye.
Senator Wilson?
Aye.
Speaker Pettis?
Aye, and with that, the endorsement is passed.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for that. Moving on to announcements this evening, starting over here, going around, Vice President Bates.
Just a reminder once again, before you leave, stop by, fill out this sheet right here, and then 2 involvement opportunities right here as well.
If you have any questions about what Student Affairs Committee does, or any who have potential interest in wanting to be a part of Student Affairs, I'm biased. I think Student Affairs is the best committee we have. But if you want to ask any of those questions, please let me know. I'll be around for a while after the meeting.
All right, going around the corner, Deputy Speaker Wilson.
The involvement, I was an old SAI intern, and the involvement fairs this week, it's really, really wonderful, and we should all go.
And I'm sure once you talk to Vice President Shane, you'll learn a little more about that as well. So.
How did that work? Advisor Billigan?
Oh my goodness, I had it in the top of my head and then you skipped me and now I don't remember. Darn it! Oh, this, sorry. Everyone should have gotten a copy about this, but I haven't eaten dinner, y'all, so my apologies. If you don't have one, there'll be extras in the office. This is a listing of all the events that were planned, color-coded. Check it out. If you have any questions, let me know. It also has information on it about Connect, about the download the app part that we talked about earlier. Are there any extra copies? We should give them to the gallery. Okay.
Director Robinson?
We'll staffing the table for WSG for the involvement in their kind of outreach.
Yes, it will. You're almost there in announcements. Thank you. It will. Going around with more WSG rules.
And not only is that going to be the case, but also we'll have a chat this week as we touch base with everybody about what counts as office hours, what doesn't count as office hours, and what might change, what won't change, what you, like I said, we'll make sure that everybody's super happy by the end of the next week, let's say.
We'll have more updates on next week's set meeting for sure. We'll be meeting this week to discuss this. Any other announcements, Director Smith?
A couple things. First, in next week's council meeting, I really encourage people to come. That's also on Constitution Day. It's also on National Voter Registration Day. So I'm going to be busy. So I'd like you to be busy at the council meeting. Second, on the note of National Voter Registration Day, if you're interested in volunteering at all with Warhawksa, I encourage you to please come talk to me after the meeting. There are a lot of different opportunities to volunteer. You don't have to want to present. You can go right and talk on the stage. There's like a wide range of things that we need hands to do.
Any other announcements? Going around once more, seeing none, moving to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Parliamentary committee?
Move to adjourn.
Second by Senator West.
Second.
Is there a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Acclamation to be called. Any opposed? Seeing none, we're out here at 9:36.
Go down.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I.
You wait.